I've had a lot of investors ask lately how to raise money for real estate development. Part of that is because inventory is so short right now, many people are wondering, should we start building new? In this video, I'm going to explain how I funded my recent development project that's going to be happening in the near future. And I want to make sure if you follow all these tips, you can do the exact same thing. But make sure you stick around to the end because I have a free gift I want to give you for joining us today. Hey there, my name is Mike Fritz. I'm the founder of Titanium Capital Investments and the Multifamily CEO System. I love development projects if they're done in the right area and done the right way. But if you're going to raise money for them, you have to understand the different kinds of investors that exist so you know which one you should be leveraging for your development project. If you use the wrong one, it could make the deal not work so well. If you use the right one, it could be one of the best investments you ever make. Let's go. The very first type of investor that invests in real estate deals, development deals, is equity investors. An equity investor is somebody that gives you money for a piece of equity in the deal. You're not paying them back a percentage of return for borrowing their money like you would a bank. You're simply giving them the portion of equity they have in the deal. They put in $100,000 and that gets them 20% equity. You're giving them 20% of the cash flow and 20% of the equity if you ever liquidate the property. That being said, some equity investors will require what is called a preferred return. A preferred return is they'll take 20% equity, but they require 6, 8, 10% return on their money no matter what happens with the deal. I tend to shy away from preferred return investors so that I can make sure the deal is successful and we all win when the property wins. But there are two types of preferred returns when you're dealing with equity investors. The first one is what I call an if-when preferred return. An if-when preferred return is if they require an 8% return, then they will get 8% as long as the property is making 8% return on investment. The second one is what we call a true return. A true return is a preferred return in which if they require 8% and the property is only making 6%, you actually come out of pocket 2% to make sure they hit their 8% requirement. Again, I like to shy away from preferred return investors and simply attach them to the success of the deal. This may require a little more trust on the front end from your investors to make sure you're going to make this successful, but by doing this, it allows you to bring the property up to success and allows your investors to win. If you're under the pressure of making sure you reach a certain level of percentage, you might rush the stability of a property and actually hurt the value over the long haul. The second type of investor is a debt investor or a private lender. This is somebody who's like a private equity investor, only they don't get equity in the deal. They invest in the deal, but you pay them a percentage just like you would a bank. They will loan their money to you for 4, 5, 6, 8%, and you pay them back month after month just like you would a bank. Private lenders are great partners on short-term deals. They tend to be not the best for long-term deals because the interest rate is usually higher than you would get from a bank, but a private lender definitely has its place. For example, if you can't qualify for the loan for a specific project, a private lender may be able to come in and actually get you to the finish line of that project. You might make a little bit less money, but you're able to get the deal done. And by getting the deal done, if you bring that property to health, you may be able to refinance with a traditional bank loan, and then you can pay off your private lender, you have a lower interest rate, and you got the deal done. Private lenders are beautiful partners to have in your back pocket, and continuing to build relationships with private lenders is a great value to you. Before I go on to the next tip, I have so much to teach about private money that I'm not able to jam into one video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and watch all of our videos about raising private capital and getting money no matter what kind of real estate deal you're doing, because it's going to really help your portfolio go further faster. The third money partner you really need to know when raising money for development is, of course, your institutional lenders or your banks. They are going to give you the majority of money to get a development deal done. They are, however, going to require anywhere from 20 to 30% to get that deal done. 25% seems to be the industry standard, but if it's a more risky investment, they might require 30% down and maybe even reserve funds to make sure you can make the payments as the development project is happening. As you're raising money for development projects, especially in the multifamily world, remember 2 to 4 units is residential, 5+ units is commercial. So as you're getting development loans, you're going to go to different kinds of banks depending on how many units you have. If your development deal is retail, if your development deal is office space, if your development deal is industrial, you're still going to look for banks that specialize in those kinds of loans. While often commercial banks loan on almost all kinds of loans, they tend to have a specialty. One of my favorite lenders that I use in the Midwest is really good at development loans. Like that is their thing. So when I want to do a development project, they have great programs to work with contractors and make sure the deal isn't stalled. They're just really good at that. Other lenders are powerful in the industrial space, and they love industrial, especially right now while we're shooting this video. But again, look for lenders that match the development project you're doing. They'll be much interested in hearing what kind of project you have coming up if that's really their forte. The next thing you want to do if you're going to raise money for a real estate development is you need to create a pitch deck that explains the development and where you're headed. Because it's a development and it's not already built, it's all speculative in many investors' minds. So you need to project what kind of investment is needed and what kind of return is expected based on other types of assets in the area. So you want to have a couple things in this pitch deck that really separate you from other people seeking money for development. Number one, you want to have some projected pictures. What is the property going to look like once it's all finished? You really want to help investors catch the vision and the emotion of what will happen when it's done. They're so much more likely to invest in something that has passion to it, even from you, than they are to just invest in a building. Help them see where you're going, why you're headed there, why you're excited about this specific project, and they'll be much more likely to partner with you and get that deal going. Also, make sure you show floor plans in your pitch deck, whether it's industrial, retail, office, multifamily, any kind of commercial asset. Show the floor plans of the project so people can see the flow of traffic and what's going to be done inside that property. And of course, you're also going to want to show the projected returns once the property is built. Since you're building a development project, you get to start renting it out to whatever tenants come into commercial real estate at market rate. So you get to experience the value of that on day one. But also, in that process of returns, show out the leasing process. How do you intend to get it leased quickly and get it leased to great tenants so everybody can start seeing their returns faster? And if you've done other development projects like this, of course, add that. If you have not, leverage other projects that have been developed just like this one and as close as you can, preferably in the same area, so they can see the value of this project, how those are performing, and what theirs might do if they invest in your deal. Just a side note, from a bank's perspective and a private investor's perspective, future equity does not equal current collateral. What that means is just because you're going to build a property and it's going to be worth X does not mean they treat that development project like that's worth that today. They're going to see it as a huge risk because there's no money coming in and we're all speculating as to what this project will do. That's why it's important to pick development projects that have track record in that specific area. Future equity does not equal current collateral. I told you if you stuck around to the end, I'd give you a free gift. I want to give you my free multifamily masterclass, which is a free 60-minute training that walks you through how to bust into the multifamily market and the 5 things you need to do to get a piece of real estate in the next 71 days. Make sure you click on that link. I'll see you in the training.